Sue McHardy here, registered holistic nutritionist at the Caledon East Family Chiropractic Clinic. And today we're going to be talking about body fat. There are three types of body fat, and I'm going to be talking about one in particular today. The first type of body fat is called subcutaneous body fat. And this is the body fat that resides just underneath the skin, so between the skin and the organs. So if you think about the phrase pinch an inch, that is your subcutaneous body fat. It lies right under the surface of the skin and you can pinch it. The second type of body fat is called ectopic body fat. This represents a very small percent of your total body fat. There is a small amount of body fat that does reside in some of the cells of your body. Again, this makes up a very small amount of your total body fat. So that's the second type of body fat. It's called ectopic. The type of body fat that I'm going to be talking about today is called Vat Fat. And if you've never heard that term, let's dive in and figure out what it is. Vat Fat stands for Visceral Adipose Tissue. So this is the most dangerous type of body fat for your overall health, and it lies deep within your belly. It's deep belly fat. It surrounds your organs. So you can't pinch it. It's deeper than that, and it lies right around your midsection. So why is this a dangerous type of body fat to have? Well, it turns out recent research shows that visceral adipose tissue, or vat fat, is actually an endocrine organ. It's not just there holding up your pants, but it is secreting a pro-inflammatory chemical. So yes, that's right, the deep abdominal fat is actually causing inflammation in your body. And hopefully by now you know that inflammation is the root cause of many major diseases, and it is in our best interest to decrease overall chronic inflammation levels in our body. So we need to decrease that vat fat essentially. So why is it bad for us? Why is vat fat a dangerous type of fat to have in our body? Well, not only does it secrete inflammation, but it will actually increase chances that you have insulin resistance. So what does this mean? Your body doesn't respond as well to insulin. So insulin is a fat storage hormone, so it can actually promote more storage of body fat over time. So not only are we increasing inflammation in our body, but we're increasing further fat storage just by having that visceral adipose tissue. So obviously that's not good. It will increase your cholesterol levels potentially, which obviously we don't want that to happen either. And vat fat or visceral adipose tissue can also increase your risk for cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and poor metabolic health. So obviously none of these are good things. So we do want to decrease that overall visceral adipose tissue. How do we know if we have visceral adipose tissue? Well, there's two very simple ways that you don't even have to go to your doctor to figure out if you have visceral adipose tissues. There's no fancy tests necessarily that you have to do, but there's two very simple methods that you can do yourself, and they both involve a tape measure. So we're gonna first talk about basically your circumference around your waist circumference. So we measure that with a tape measure. So for men and women, we want our waist circumference around your belly button to be less than or equal to half of your height. So for a 6 foot male, a 6 foot man, 6 feet is 72 inches. So we divide that by 2. So that 6 foot tall male, their waist circumference with a tape measure should be 36 inches or less. So we take that 72 inches divided by 2 for a 6 foot tall male. So 36 inches or less around their belly button. And let's take a 5'2" average height woman as an example. So that works out to 62 inches in height for that woman. Again, we divide that by 2, and the waist circumference of that particular woman around the belly button should be 31 inches or less. So that's your first way of calculating, your waist circumference and if that's putting you in danger at having more visceral adipose tissue. The second method is calculating your waist to hip ratio. So I'm going to insert some footage right now of me explaining how to calculate your waist to hip ratio. Again, this is something you can do at home with a tape measure. You should know these metrics because we want to keep those numbers in check. Obviously, that will help reduce your risk for many fairly major diseases. And then I'm going to come back at the end of this video and I'm going to give you some tips and strategies to help decrease those numbers, which in turn is going to improve your overall health and reduce the likelihood that you may contract some of these major diseases. So here comes the clip of me explaining how to calculate your waist to hip ratio, and I'll be back at the end with some strategies. Tip Tuesday, here's a quick tutorial on taking your own waist to hip ratio. Please remember that scale is not always a best indicator of your progress or of your overall health. The number on the scale is just a number. It doesn't take into account the percent of body fat that you have or the percent of muscle that you have. So please remember that. So tape measure can be an excellent tool at measuring your progress because generally as you see the numbers go down, that means you're losing body fat and probably gaining muscle because muscle is denser and more compact than body fat. So the numbers will go down. So that's just a little side tip. Anyways, back to waist to hip ratio. So we're going to take that tape measure, we're going to put it around your belly button. So I am coming in at about 28 inches around my belly button. And then I'm going to take that same tape measure and I'm going to put it around the widest part of my hips, which is usually at the greater trochanter or the hip bone. So that's usually where the best place to measure, or the widest part of your hips. And I'm coming in at 35 inches there. So then we take the first measure around your belly button, we divide it by the second measurement. So I've already run my own numbers and my waist to hip ratio came in at 0.8. So men should come in at 0.9 or less on their waist to hip ratio, and women should come in at 0.85 or less on their waist to hip ratio. So what does this measure? It really measures how much body fat is distributed around the midsection. That's kind of the dangerous body fat, the body fat that's lying in and around the organs, and it can put you at a higher risk for diabetes, heart disease, poor metabolic health. So we want to work at improving that number and getting them in range over time. I've got some tips below, and you can always reach out if you need some help getting started. But you should definitely be aware of your own waist to hip ratio and keep track of that over time as one of your overall health metrics. Happy Tuesday. Drop me a note if you need some help. Okay, so now we know what vat fat or visceral adipose tissue is. We know why it is dangerous and it's the most dangerous type of body fat that we should have. We know how to measure it via your waist circumference and your waist to hip ratio. Now we're going to talk about some strategies to improve those numbers. I want you to get a tape measure, measure that abdominal area. I want you to figure out your waist to hip ratio. You should know your numbers, and we're going to work at improving those numbers over time because that's going to improve your overall health. So here are my top 6 strategies to help you decrease your vat fat or your visceral adipose tissue. Number 1, we need to be moving more, plain and simple. You need to move your body and sweat every day. So you want to be aiming for 7,500 plus steps per day. So if you have a Fitbit or just an app on your phone, we just need to move more throughout the day. That's going to promote more calorie burning. It's going to improve your metabolism. It also is very beneficial to strength train, to lift heavy things, to use weights 2 to 3 times per week. What this does is increase the muscle on your body, and muscle will increase your metabolism. It makes you stronger, it improves your overall health, but it helps you with fat storage and it helps boost your metabolism so you don't store as much body fat. So we need to move more. That's number 1. Number 2, cut out sugar and refined carbohydrates as much as possible. 90% of the time, I want you to be cutting out that sugar and those processed carbohydrates, because they do tend to spike your blood sugar, and they're very, very inflammatory in general, but they do spike up your blood sugar, and that causes your body to release insulin to manage that sugar in the blood. And insulin is a fat storage hormone. So when our blood sugar goes up and insulin was released, we tend to store more body fat. So cut out that sugar, cut out those refined carbohydrates. If you need help doing that, come and see me. I'll help you with that. Number 3, balance your blood sugar. Every time you eat, and I've created a whole other video on that on our Cala Denise channel, so please check that out. But every time you eat, you should be combining a source of protein with dietary fiber and dietary fat. This is going to keep your blood sugar levels more stable. When we eat a little bit higher in carbohydrates, we're going to get those spikes in blood sugar, which again is going to cause more insulin release, which is again going to cause more storage of body fat. So we need to balance our blood sugar by combining a protein with a fiber and a source of healthy dietary fat. If you don't know how to do that, again, come and see me. I can help you do that. By the way, all of my 4-week done for you meal plans that are available through the office are designed to reduce inflammation and balance your blood sugar. So that is a very easy dietary fix. So balance your blood sugar. That's strategy number 3. Strategy number 4, we need to make sure we're getting enough sleep and managing your stress levels. Because when you don't sleep enough or you're stressed out all the time, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. This is your primary stress hormone. And what cortisol does, it tends to store body fat, especially around the belly. So we need to keep cortisol levels lower by managing your stress levels and making sure you're getting enough sleep. So those are lifestyle tweaks that you can do to decrease your visceral adipose tissue. Number 5, eat real food. Cut out processed food 90% of the time, because processed foods are stripped of fiber, they're stripped of nutrients. There's not much in there that's going to nourish your body and your cells and keep you healthy and strong and give you good energy. Plus, processed foods again tend to spike that blood sugar a little bit higher, and then you're going to release more insulin, which is going to cause more storage of body fat or vat fat. So cut out your processed foods, eat real, whole, 1-ingredient foods most of the time. And number 6, we want to aim for a 14 to 16 hour fast at night where you're not consuming food and you're allowing your body to finish digesting and do some cellular cleanup. There are so many benefits for a fast overnight. Again, I've created a whole other video on intermittent fasting and what it is and the benefits. But for the purposes of this video, the 14 to 16 hour fast, the benefit in terms of decreasing your vat fat is that your body is going to have to turn to stored body fat for fuel instead of using carbohydrates that are roaming constantly through your body for fuel. So you're going to end up teaching your body to use body fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates. And this teaches your body to be a fat burner. It is great for your metabolic health. So aiming for a 14 to 16 hour fast overnight is going to gradually help decrease that visceral adipose tissue or that vat fat as well. So those are my top 6 strategies. Feel free to screenshot for reducing your visceral adipose tissue, which in turn is going to decrease inflammation in your body. It's going to improve overall health. And you're just going to feel better and look better. So that's our video for today. So vat fat, we don't want it. It's dangerous. It poses many different health risks. It increases your chance of inflammation, which we want to keep at a low level for overall health. Now you know how to calculate it very easily with a tape measure. And we know some strategies to help decrease your visceral adipose tissue over time. Now, if you need more help, I'm at the Cala Denise Family Chiropractic Clinic every Thursday from 2 till 6 p.m. And I am here to help you improve your overall health and wellness. So please pop in and say hello and come in and meet me. And also, I would appreciate if you gave the video a like, a thumbs up, and share it with somebody that you might think might find it helpful and might help them improve their overall health as well. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our practitioner content for 2024, because we are here at the Cala Denise Family Chiropractic Clinic to help you become the healthiest version of yourself now and forever. So like, subscribe, and share. And I will be back next month with another video to help you improve your overall health.